Hey guys, welcome back to the Pop channel. For this video, we are going to talk about a rather divisive topic. Specifically, we are going to talk about this card. What I'm trying to achieve here is to point out the fact that Chronoa, which was the silver bullet that was created to answer Sugosh, is not exactly the proper answer for it. And maybe end off the video on what we can do better. Like I said before, this video is not to kickstart another ban wave, it's more of a sharing of opinion. So without further ado, let's hear from each other after this short intro, alright? Sugosh is a very powerful card. For 0 energy, it can give your leader or battle card a 10k boost and lets you play any battle card that is a Saiyan with 3 costs or less. Aggressively, it can extend plays and cheats out evolved target, or defensively, it can KO an opponent's attacking battle card, again with no cost at all, and puts a 10k barrier on the board. It is very versatile, and when it first came out, the meta was defined by it. Ginyu Veggies, Ginyu Apes, Yellow leaders were able to hold its own against the now banned Super Saiyan 3 Goku leader just because of accessibility to Sugosh alone. So if Sugosh is so powerful, why Bandai did nothing about it? Bandai did, and her name is Chronoa. Whenever some players request Bandai to do more things to Sugosh in a Facebook post, you will definitely see replies from other players either telling the said players to get good or pointing them to the obvious fact that Chronoa exists. In the remaining time we have in this video, I would like to point out why Chronoa is not the correct answer to Sugosh we think it is. Chronoa is a black card that can be played with any decks and is the textbook definition of what TCG refers to as a silver bullet. It is designed with the sole purpose of dealing with Sugosh, and for 1 non-color energy, it draws 1 card and has an uncounterable auto effects that prevents Sugosh from playing a battle card for the entirety of the game. That means once you tap that 1 energy and slaps down Chronoa on the board, Sugosh is as good as dead. As far as the silver bullet goes, it does its job really well. However, the problem with Chronoa is less so what the card does and more so on the fact that whether you decide to main or sideboard the deck, either way, you're the one with the disadvantage. Let's say you go to a local tourney and you have 16 players there. Out of the 16 players, 4 players place 3 to 4 Sugoshes in their decks. Mainboarding Chronoa meant that your Chronoa will only be effective 25% of the time. In the rest of the 75%, your Chronoa can be a better 1-drop, i.e. Whiz or Boros for the yellow or blue players, which does something more than drawing a card and most importantly fixes your energy color. And for the 25%, we are already taking a rather huge assumption that you will draw into Chronoa in the first few turns in the game, because let's be real here, a Broly Height or Mastery deck will most probably Sugosh you in less than 3 turns. With some calculation, if you are playing 3 copies of Chronoa in your deck, the chances of drawing into 1 copy of Chronoa in your starting hand, it's approximately 29%. It drops to around 21% if you are playing 2 copies and 12% if you are playing only 1 copy. If we take hard mulligan into consideration, redrawing your entire hand will increase the odds significantly to a respectable 49% if you have Chronoa in your starting hand. However, in the grand scheme of things, that means your Chronoa has a chance of doing its job approximately 12% of the time in a 60-man's tourney and less than an ideal card in the rest of the 88%. Bear in mind that this main number, 12%, it's only barely achievable if you play 3 copies of the silver bullets in your deck and that you hard mulligan your starting hand every game. A little disclaimer here. The number will differ a couple percentage points if we consider that extra 1 to 2 cards draw most players have access to. But the math insanity to consider 2 to 3 extra cards draw escalates pretty quickly. Similar to the insanity that one time Master Roshi dodges Jiren punches with Ultra Instinct, so that is why I want to keep the calculations simple here. The main point here is to point out that there is more disadvantage to the players maining Chronoa than the player playing Sugosh. So what about sideboarding Chronoa? Let's say we have the same 16 people's tourney, and again we have 4 players playing 3 to 4 Sugeshes. Against these 4 players, they will be able to Sugesh the first round immediately. That means for 33% of the time, assuming the game goes into 3 rounds, that Sugesh will not be dealt with. For the rest of the remaining 2 games, there's still a 29% chance of having Chronoa in the starting hand, which the card becomes more useless as the game goes by. So let's take a look from the Sugesh player point of view here. Assuming 70% of the players sideboard Chronoa in the tournament, Sugesh player will be able to play their game on game 1 against 100% of the tournament players. Turn 2 to 3, they have a 71% chance that their opponent might not be able to have a Chronoa in their starting hand, and approximately 51% if the opponent hard mulligans for it. That basically means that they have 100%, 51%, 51%, approximately a total of 67% if that their Sugesh will be good for the entire 3 games. That also meant that the Chronoa player will only have an effective rate of approximately 33% of the time. That low number is only obtainable assuming that the player already plays 3 copies of Chronoa and hard mulligan all 6 cards in their hands to hopefully draw into them. The numbers fall very sharply if the players reduces the copies of Chronoa and the number of cards to be mulliganed from their starting hand. Take note that 67% effective rate of Sugesh only applies to the games played against 70% of the players who has Chronoa on their sideboard. The number drastically increases if we take the 100% effective rate against the other 30% of the players who unfortunately do not have Chronoa on their sideboard. One point to point out is the reason why players mulligan is to draw the cards they need to play their deck strategy. Discarding vital cards to draw into Chronoa itself, it's already not an ideal play, though arguably not drawing a Chronoa and let the Sugesh player plays their Sugesh is maybe the worst play here. That is the power of Sugesh. So in conclusion, whether if you're maining Chronoa with a 12% effective rate to stop Sugesh, or sideboarding Chronoa with 33% effective rate to stop Sugesh, I hope we can all agree here that either option punishes the Chronoa player more than the player playing Sugesh. And I think I'm being very generous here with the assumption. Also, I have not even come to the best of 1 and team war format, which I will not elaborate why Sugesh is considerably more broken in those formats, as I believe most of the Dragon Ball Super community do have an agreement on this. I do understand that some people would argue along the line of, oh, if Sugesh is so broken, why no Sugesh heavy decks are topping national and big events? Well, except for the fact that some did, whether bending or limiting or errata of a card has less to do about topping events than to make the game more welcoming and fun to the general casual. A pro player who can handle and play around Sugesh does not mean a casual player who just loves his or her casual jank deck can do so. It is about making the game fun, welcoming, less toxic by eliminating unfair cards. So if the community agrees that Sugesh is totally unfair in some format, and that I hope you too after watching this video agrees that Chronoa is not the correct answer, what can we do here? I would like to suggest to limit it to 1 copy. Limiting it to 1 copy per deck does several things. It makes the card less reliable, thus making strategy around the card less appealing. For example, playing Planet Vegeta to search for that 1 Sugesh requires 1 energy and the 3 to 4 card slot that can be given to other cards. Reducing the number of Planet Vegeta hurts deck consistency, and there's always the one chance that no matter how many searcher you play, the Sugesh might end up in the live area. The real big upside to limiting the cards is actually for the other non-Sugesh player, as they don't have to go into a big tournament or a local tourney pairing for an unfair card that punishes them regardless, which I hope by this point I have pointed out the reasons with numbers. Even if the opponent plays that 1 Sugesh, they can more so handle them now because they know that their opponent has only 1 chance to do so. Spending energy to deal with something that costs no energy is not ideal in a game about resource management, but it is a little bit more acceptable when you know it's gonna happen only once per game. In the end, I really just hope that changes like this will make the game more fun, fair, and welcoming for pros and casual alike. So we have come to the end of the video. I hope that I have managed to make my point clear on why playing Chronoa, even though it seems that it can effectively stop Sugosh, in a bigger picture actually punishes the Chronoa player than the Sugosh player. Not to say that other formats, for example like best of one, and in the team wars, Sugosh is a very problematic card there. That said, I would like to say that these are only my opinions, and I definitely would have left out some things that I did not consider into the equation itself. You can get in contact with me by leaving a comment in the comment section of this video. You can also write to me a message once you follow me on Instagram. I usually reply to people who write me messages. I hope you have a good time. If not, see each other in the next video. Alright? Ciao guys.